Yeah, my name is Ben Aldridge and I'm playing Thomas Wayne.
So let me ask a question. We hear about Thomas Wayne's values all the time from Bruce and Alfred in the later years. Will we see a lot of that going into this series?
I think, yeah, the interesting thing about what we're doing is we've got the end point with all these characters, so it's looking at the starting point, and we've stayed faithful to the comic books in that he seems to be very moral and upstanding, but he's caught up in quite a kind of covert world. He's dabbling in some espionage, and that line of work is forcing him to kind of make some compromises on his principles. So he's not squeaky clean in our version of Pennyworth. He appears that way at first, and then various things unfold throughout the series that make him start to have to do some questionable things that he's not comfortable with doing. But I think you start to begin to see some of the heroics that go into make up Batman. Also the strong moral compass that's handed down to Batman you start to see in Thomas Wayne as well. So the DNA is definitely there. Also Martha Kane, which is called our version of Martha Wayne, is a huge character. So you get to see both halves of Batman, their personalities that then become Batman. And they don't. It's not a love at first sight tale at all. There's a lot of tension and friction between them, and they disagree on everything. So that's a cool thing to see and to explore what eventually becomes, Batman.
The Batman mythos is very, very deep, and there's many different segues, many different topics. Which one did you personally pull from in order for your inspiration for this role, or do you feel that the writers pull from?
I think because it's pre any of the canon, I think Bruno hasn't looked specifically to the different incarnations of it. So I just looked at the comic books for visual references, and it feels like he's contained visually to the Joe Chill murder scene and within all the films as well. So I don't know that I specifically looked at a certain version of him, just the character elements of his, but what they wanted this character to be very much about, that they wanted to feel like a 1950s movie star. So in my audition process there was lots of talk of Cary Grant and movie stars like that, so my research was looking back and watching those films, which was great fun to do South by Southwest, North by Northwest, whatever, but we didn't have to deep dive into the comics too much. They were really useful. That's where I have a moustache in the show, and Thomas always has a moustache in the comic book, so that's where that came from.
Is there a Cary Grant movie you would suggest we watch?
North by Northwest, no? Is that? Yeah. Loved it. Yeah. And also, it's a similar. There are moments of Thomas's story that are similar to Cary Grant in that film.
Oh, really?
Where he kind of gets caught up in things by accident and he's not quite sure where the truth is. So yeah, that was something that I rewatched a couple of times.
So, building on what you've answered earlier, how hard was it when there's not a abundance of backstory on Thomas Wayne, his younger years? Where do you start and then build from there?
I think what we all did, I know Jack had this particularly as well, that we just really leaned heavily into Bruno's scripts. The scripts are so detailed, and he knows the characters so well that it's there on the page. So you don't have to do too much imagination, too much creative work yourself, because they're really Bibles for us to kind of go by, and he's done all of that thinking. So we just have our job is just to bring it to life. So
the heavy lifting's mostly done.
I feel like the heavy lifting in terms of who they are is done, and then it's kind of collaborative as a process we go along. Like you'll grab a very insightful conversation with Bruno at the side of set, and he'll give you loads of tidbits about the character that you hadn't thought of, and he'll also listen to how you're feeling about the character in the journey. So it's kind of quite a collaborative process to find who they are.
Do you think that this show is going to bring in fans who probably were skeptical about an Alfred Thomas Wayne type show coming into it?
I think so, yeah, and I think it will bring in fans that aren't necessarily even comic book fans. I think comic book fans, there's a lot to latch onto, and there are little Easter eggs throughout as well, and there are kind of tiny little hidden gems that if you know the comic books well, you'll be able to recognise them within the TV programme. Also, I think it will draw a whole new audience. I wouldn't even really call it a spin-off. It goes to like the genesis of that relationship, it's the very beginning of it, and it's set in a 1960s London that we have never seen in any of the comic books. And in that way, Bruno had free reign to do what he likes. Also, it's very much a character-driven piece. It's very much about the psychology of all these characters and the world that they're all brought up in, the decisions that they have to make. So, yeah, I think it will bring in a whole new audience. As well as it's got like a really dark, twisted, macabre element to it. As soon as you think you're in a kind of recognisable 1960s London, someone will walk through the back of shot like an extra with a full leather gimp mask or a crazy costume that's unexplained. There's loads of like weird hooks into it that I think there's a good element of the show where people will try to be working things out, like little hooks where they go, is that leading to this or is that leading to that? So yeah, I think it will draw in a new audience as well as an existing.
Can you just tell us briefly about the relationship between Alfred and Thomas and how complex and deep that it gets and what challenges they run into?
So it takes a while to kick off. It's a chance meeting, without giving too much away, but they're kind of thrust together, and Thomas needs something from Alfred. Thomas is a bit of a fish out of water. He's an American in 1960s London. He's not streetwise, and he doesn't quite know how to protect himself within his work. So he sees Alfred as a tremendous asset to him, and it really is after the skills that Alfred can bring to the table. But Alfred's quite reluctant to that initially because Thomas is trying to draw Alfred back into a world that he's actually trying to move away from. So they're kind of circling around each other, and they've both got something that the other needs. And I guess that's what the series chronicles, is that relationship development.
Thank you.